Boom. Yes, yes, you are. You are tuned in to the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. It is Tuesday, everybody, the 14th October, 2025. And we are streaming on Rumble. We are streaming on X. We are streaming on YouTube. And we're streaming at the mothership, WYAB.com. Big things are happening at WYAB. We're getting a power boost at the end of the month. Looking forward to that. But if for some reason you can't get the signal, we do appreciate you tuning into our stream. If you wouldn't mind sharing and liking and doing all those social media things, that would be great. Please follow me on X. It's just Andrew Gosser, AndrewGasser. I appreciate the follows. All of my show prep stuff that I use, I try to put up there so that we can all follow along as the program unfolds. Speaking of the program unfolding, if you want to be a part of the program today, the number is 601-879-0002. And the text line, which is packed, and I haven't read it in the past hour, but I am getting to them. The text number is 601-879-5060. The mission here at the Andrew Gosser Show is standard. We are here to equip the saints. You are the saints. Today's going to be an interesting show. Today Charlie I believe would have been 32, and it's just one of those things that it's the further we get removed from Charlie being martyred, the more I'm starting to feel it. I was able to compartmentalize it a little bit, but there's lots going on. We're going to celebrate Charlie's life today, and I'm going to celebrate it like he would have wanted to. Courageous faith. But we have other things in the news that we'll get to too. The presidential tracking polls you gotta say 95% minimum negative coverage of Donald Trump, and yet he's in positive territory. Unbelievable. We'll talk about it. The Democrat implosion. And you're sitting here saying, Andy, we're in Mississippi. Democrat Party's not too strong here. Well, they could be. But luckily for us, they have plenty of outside of the state of Mississippi examples for us to highlight and look at, and we will. School choice is another big thing coming up, and there are some interesting allies. Politics makes strange bedfellows. Talk about that. SpaceX, ladies and gentlemen, I'm wearing my dark MAGA hat today. SpaceX finished its final flight of the Block 2 Starship successfully. We've got to talk about that. And something that's going to be really cool tonight, hopefully after I get done with the dentist this afternoon, I'll be able to make it over to Iron Horse Grill at 5:30 this afternoon to meet with the Hinds County Republicans. They're going to be out there, and it's going to be a great way to meet some local people there. So I'm hoping to get there. I was asked probably no less than 10 times what Agenda 2030 is. So we're hoping to talk about that a little bit. And then, honestly, we got to talk about Shad White because he is just on the ball when it comes to some of these issues, and it needs to be talked about. But there's really only one place to start, and there are going to be so many tributes to Charlie today, being his birthday, and he has, not even that he deserves it, he's earned it. When I think back to when he first kicked this all off, and when he was in the what I'll call the dreamer stage of what he wanted to do, it was awesome. And those of us who were there in the beginning, 217 and a half Liberty Street, if you know, you know. It wasn't that I didn't not think Charlie could achieve it. I just couldn't quantify it, couldn't see it, and how big and how strong it is. The movement that he's made, that so many of us believe in and cherish in. And not only that, he believed in it in a group of people that Republicans and conservatives normally don't really want to work with or reach out to. And those are the younger people. It's just what it is. It's like if you're below 25 and you're not a liberal, you have no heart. If you're 26 or older and you're not a Republican, you have no brain. It's just how it is. but he saw that vision, and he put it together, and he was so great at, one, being a leader, leading by example and leading from the front. And number two, he had a truly he was truly gifted. He was blessed by God with some incredible brain power, and we're going to listen to some of that today. This is the clip that has kind of stuck with me for a while now, and I genuinely believe this is the clip that ultimately got Charlie Kirk murdered, because he was going directly at the problem that the Democrats are imposing on our nation. And it's just not from a political point of view, it's from an entertainment point of view, an educational point of view, a spiritual point of view. You know, there are so many ways that it's coming at us, and for whatever reason, Charlie Kirk was able to take those tough, difficult questions and turn it into an answer that not only was plausible to the person he was debating, but made it evidently clear to everybody who was an outside observer. He was making his point, and he was getting his points across. He went to the Oxford Union in England and just completely leveled the place. So what I want to do is I'm going to just play this cut from Charlie. He is on stage, and someone asks him this question, and I just think Charlie can explain this so much better than I could, and it's just breathtaking to me. I get chills every time I listen to it. So without further ado, here we go.
So I was articulated yesterday by a couple of my friends that our country was not founded on Christian principles. So I want to see how, like, an argument that you guys can give me to combat that. So essentially, they articulated to me that our country was founded on common law, because the Declaration only refers to God 4 times, and the Constitution doesn't refer to God at all, and it only articulates the structure of government. And is common law Christian in nature, or is it not?
I can take it first. So this guy doesn't, whoever said that doesn't really know what they're talking about. So first of all, remember that we were a collection of states and colonies, and you need to read the state constitutions before anything else. 9 out of 13 of the original states required you to be a Bible-believing Christian to serve in government at the time of the founding. You could, even in actually, 13 out of 13 required a declaration of faith. 9 out of 13 required you to be a Protestant, except Maryland, which was Catholic, which still required a declaration of faith. In almost every single one of the original state constitutions, Pennsylvania included, they had, I profess Lord and Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior in the original state constitutions. So you remember, we're a collection of states before that. Secondly, 55 out of 56 of the original signers of the Declaration were Bible-believing, church-attending Christians. You asked about common law. So common law is inherited from Blackstone, who was Christian. A common law is an outgrowth of the scriptures. So let's go to 3 principles of common law: presumption of innocence, due process, and jury of your peers. All 3 are biblical principles. So, and all wrapped into the ultimate biblical principle that you shall not favor justice if you are rich or poor, which is in Leviticus 19, right before the most famous part of Leviticus 19, which is that you should love your neighbor as yourself. But before that is that in the administration of justice, you shall not favor the rich or the poor, which is the idea of blind justice. We get that in the West, which is incorporated also in the New Testament ideal: neither slave nor Greek nor Jew, you're all one in Jesus Christ, which we get the idea of human equality. These are all biblical ideas. They're not Enlightenment ideas, which is they kind of get conflated at the time. But more importantly than that, they say that God was only mentioned 4 times in the Declaration of Independence. Well, that's a big deal, okay? Laws of nature and nature's God. The last paragraph of the Declaration reads as a prayer. It says, we appeal to the supreme judge of the universe. Who's the judge of the universe? Jesus Christ, as it says in Revelation, that Jesus will judge the earth on his throne. So in the Declaration, they were praying to Christ our Lord as a prayer very specifically. Thirdly, as I said on stage yesterday, Deuteronomy was by far the most quoted book, religious or non-religious, in the time of the founding when they were putting together the Constitution, more than John Locke, more than Montesquieu, more than Blackstone. So the book of Deuteronomy, which talked about laws, customs, traditions, it was Moses' farewell address, as he's, about to say goodbye, say, hey, good luck in Canaan, guys. Here's how you should set up your form of government. But finally, and most importantly, let's look at actually what the founders said. John Adams famously said the Constitution was only written for a moral and religious people. It was wholly inadequate for the people of any other. The body politic of America was so Christian and was so Protestant that our form and structure of government was built for the people that believed in Christ our Lord. One of the reasons we're living through a constitutional crisis is that we no longer have a Christian nation, but we have a Christian form of government, and they're incompatible. So you cannot have liberty if you do not have a Christian population. So that's just a surface level belief. So then they'll go to the First Amendment, which has two parts of the First Amendment which get conflated. First of all, separation of church and state is not in the U.S. Constitution. That is a single letter that Thomas Jefferson wrote in 1807 to the Danbury Baptist Convention in Massachusetts, assuring them that the government would not come after the church, okay, which is the opposite of what they would say. However, that was then resurrected by the Warren Court and the Burger Court in the 60s, where they said, hey, all of a sudden, we're now going to make this as if it's the Constitution. It does say in the Constitution two things, which is the Establishment Clause and the Free Expression Clause. The Establishment Clause is that Congress shall make no law prohibiting the free exercise thereof. What they were most worried about was a Presbyterian or a Anglican or a Quaker type religion taking over the federal government. Instead, it was that there is not going to be a state-run religion or a state-run government. Did you know that one of the first acts of Congress was taxpayer-funded Bible printing and distribution? Did you know that there were church services held in the Supreme Court building as late as the Jackson presidency in the 1820s? But going back to this idea of separation of church and state, and again, I could riff on this ad nauseum because it's just so ridiculous, right? Is that it's not biblical because first, it's not biblical. It's not constitutional because you go a layer deeper. People that even say that, do you believe in separation of morality and state? Nobody does. So all laws are a reflection of morality, and all morality comes from somewhere. There is no such thing as neutral morality. And we believe what the founders believed because they put it in the halls of Congress, they put it in the Supreme Court, and they put it all throughout the country, which is that the Decalogue, the 10 Commandments, is the core morality of how a society and a civilization should exist, right? The 10 Commandments of every person. And finally, and this is the kicker, if the founding fathers were not Bible-believing church-saying Christians, why did they put Leviticus on the Liberty Bell? Not John, not Psalms, not Proverbs, not Genesis, Leviticus. Most Americans can't spell Leviticus. Leviticus 25:19, proclaim liberty throughout the land of which you are in. It is one of the most sinister, most unsubstantiated lies that does not come up against any sort of academic scrutiny. This idea that founding fathers were a bunch of Enlightenment common law deists. The reason they hate it is because the reason they must say this is that if we actually go back to our Christian roots and we go back to where we once were, it's America's best hope for revival and for a great future. You want to add to anything? Sorry,
that covered it. That was
I think
pretty
that covered it.
impressive.
Yeah,
I can't touch that.
Beautifully put.
Yeah. Okay.
And when you hear that, whether you are a Christian or not, he is presenting evidence that suggests that the country was formed on Christian biblical values. Everybody wants facts. Everybody wants proof. But one thing I've learned in my walk in evangelism is you can look at something and it provides evidence, but when it comes to actual proof, the standard, it varies. People can say this is 2 quarters, and you look at it, it's 2 quarters, but in actuality, someone nicked it up, and it's a quarter and a Susan B. Anthony. But you had proof it was 2 quarters, but it really wasn't. And there is so much in this quick 6 minutes and 9 seconds. When I heard this a while ago, I was actually going through in my other notebook and writing out the actual Constitution and state constitutions in South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, Delaware, Maryland, and going through Pennsylvania, New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Vermont, going through that whole area over there and trying to put together what Charlie said, not because I didn't believe him, but I wanted to have the historical reference for myself. And the truth of the matter is with this 6 minute and 9 second clip from Charlie that's with us for as long as we have electricity and the net, It's a study. You can spend a day easily, hour easily, just going through and validating that. I didn't know about the Leviticus stamp on the Liberty Bell. I understand it now. It makes sense. It all fits together. But look, there's so much more to talk about this. We are just getting started on the Andrew Gosser Show. We're going to take our first commercial break. We will be right back.
Show your pride and patriotism in honor of the 250th birthday of this great nation by proudly flying a flag. And a complete flag source on I-55 in Jackson is the place to find it. All sizes for all purposes. And they have the official 250-year celebration flag. Have a look at CompleteFlags.com. That's CompleteFlags.com.
Whether new construction or remodeling, Stephen Arrington and his team at Elite Custom Construction can design and build your dream kitchen and cabinets, inside and outside. Using high-quality products, Elite Custom Construction specializes in cabinetry and intricate millwork. Established in 2011, licensed and insured, Elite Custom Construction is your solution to your next project. Call Stephen at 601-927-0552 or visit them online at elitecustomconstruction.net.
After 28 years, we are closing our brick and mortar location in Canton come November 2025. But fear not, smalltownmusic.com will remain alive and well, and you will still be able to text or call 601-859-8596. Small Town Music, come on and get it. 859-8596. Call before you're home. We will have a booth on Canton Square at the Emporium, and you can still browse our guitars and support our original music at www.smalltownmusic.com.
Hi, this is Lee Atkins of Home Care Plus in Ridgeland. We are a proud carrier of Abena Premium Incontinence products. Abena has the most absorbency available, making changes and leaks less likely. After 7 years as a seller, I can tell you these products are amazing and worth every penny to quality of life for patient and caregiver. And we ship all incontinence products as well. So please come see us at Home Care Plus in Ridgeland for all the incontinence needs of you or your family member. That's Home Care Plus in Ridgeland.
Acme Pizza and Daiquiris at Fannin Mart on the Riz is quickly becoming Rankin County's go-to spot for pizza, burgers, pasta, appetizers, daiquiris, and more. Try their famous Wheel of Flavor pizza. You can add up to 3 different specialty pizzas onto one pie, such as the Margarita, Sergeant Pepperoni, Acme Beat Buster, Pig, 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 Pesto Chicken, the Old Mexico, the Supreme, or hey, just build your own custom pizza. Acme also has a full bar with 9 different frozen daiquiris to choose from. Open daily at 4 p.m. Acme Pizza and Daiquiris.
Yes, we are back on the Andrew Gosser Show. The number is 601-879-0002 if you want to call in. The text line is open at 601-879-5060. I do have a lot of texts I need to get you concerning yesterday's show, but I want to continue down this road with Charlie.
I do have a lot of texts I need to get
because I genuinely feel,
but I want to continue down this road with Charlie
I
and what he
with
just
all my
spoke
heart,
about.
especially with this audience,
Because
that we are all looking to go back to a time where
believe this
we
with all
could
my heart,
enjoy
especially
life,
with this
where it wasn't
audience,
so stressful,
that-
where there
that
wasn't
we
so much
are all
anxiety because we were
looking to
attached
go
to our cell phones
back
/
to a time
anxiety
where
devices.
we could enjoy life where it wasn't
And
so
we want to
stressful,
go back
where
to
there
a
wasn't
form of
so much
government that
anxiety because
actually
we were
represents us.
attached to our cell phones /
You
anxiety
know, I'm
devices.
53. I'm not sure
And we want to go back to a
the
form of
government
government that
my
actually represents
founding
us.
fathers thought the United States would be.
You know, I'm
actually
53.
has
I'm not
existed
sure
since I've been born.
the government that
I genuinely
my
believe that
founding fathers
there's been
thought
some
the United
type of
States would be
quiet
actually
internal
has
tug,
existed since I've been born.
at the United States. Even though
I
we've done
genuinely
great
believe
stuff,
that there's been some type of
we've done great
quiet
things, and we've
internal
accomplished incredible
at the
milestones
United
in
States.
humanity.
Even though we've done great stuff,
But it's almost like
we've done great things, and we've accomplished
we've
incredible
full of ourselves,
milestones
the less
in
we
humanity.
depend, on the Father, and
But it's
our
almost
country
like
is
the
spiraling.
more
Except in one
we
place, the
become
country is
full of
not spiraling
ourselves,
in
the
one
less we
place, and that is the
depend,
national
on
debt.
the Father, and our country
That
is
is
spiraling.
soaring like a rocket.
Except in one place, the country is not
They're
spiraling in one
spending all
place, and that
sorts
is the
of
national debt.
money there.
That
So,
is soaring
the
like
first
a rocket.
30 seconds or so of that
They're
video
spending all sorts of money there.
basically talks about
So
the
first
the guy asking
30
a question.
seconds or so
And
of that video
I can remember having this argument
basically talks about
on the county board of
the
supervisors. I
guy
can remember
asking
having
a
this
question.
argument
And
with
I can
personal
remember
friends.
having this argument
You know, they all
on the
said
county
they
board
wanted
of
to make
supervisors.
sure
I can remember
what is
having this
moral
argument
and have this
with
whole
personal friends.
intellectual, philosophical debate on
You know, they
basically
all
what is right
said
and
they
wrong,
wanted to make sure
and
what
who are
is
we
moral
to decide that?
and have this whole
And
intellectual,
the thing is
philosophical
if
debate on
what
basically
Charlie's
what is
talked
right
about
and
here
wrong.
in the 6-minute,
And who are
9-second
we to
video
decide
clip,
that?
audio clip.
And the thing is
If we can't teach that
what Charlie's talked about
in,
here
say, like
in
a
the
5th
6-minute,
grade
9-second
level,
video
an
clip,
8th grade level,
audio clip,
and maybe a junior,
if
a
we
junior
can't teach that
in high school level,
in say like a 5th grade,
then we're never
level,
going to have
an 8th
that,
grade
that
level,
firm basis for
and maybe
a
a
moral
junior,
fabric
a junior
that so
in high
many
school
people are
level,
complaining about, including
then we're never
including
going
the
to have
boomers
that,
who are out
that
there
firm basis for
protesting and
a
getting
moral
waylaid.
fabric that so
I
many
don't
people are
understand
complaining about.
why
Including
some of these
including the boomers who are out there
people are getting
protesting
in front
and
of ICE
getting
when they're trying
waylaid.
to conduct operations,
I
but
don't
they're
understand
going to get smoked.
why some of these people are
Well,
getting
Andrew,
in
that's
front of
just what
ICE
they have
when
to
they're
do.
trying to
No,
conduct operations,
you
but
can protest
they're
without
going to get smoked.
without becoming violent, without going past boundaries that you're not
Well,
supposed
Andrew,
to
that's
be in.
just what they have to do. No, you
I
can
am
protest
so
without
glad
without
I am
becoming
not in
violent,
Illinois
without
right now. Oh my
going
gosh,
past boundaries that you're not supposed to be in.
it is bad. So I want to
am
play this
so
first part of
glad
Charlie and
I
then
am
just
not in Illinois
comment
right
on it.
now. Oh my gosh,
That was my game plan. So I'm going to
Christian
stick to it.
trip,
it
where
is
is it
bad.
from?
So I want to play this first part of Charlie
I
and
can
then
take
just
it first.
comment
So-
on it. That was my game
This
plan.
guy
I'm gonna
doesn't-
stick to
whoever
it.
said that doesn't
Where
know
is
what
it?
they're talking about. So first of all, remember that we were
I
a
can take it
collection of
first.
states and
So-
colonies, and you need to read the state
this guy doesn't-
constitutions
whoever
before
said that
anything else.
doesn't really know what they're talking
9 out
about.
of
So first
13
of
of the
all,
original states require
remember
you
that
to
we
be a
were a
Bible-believing
collection of
Christian to
states
serve in
and
government.
colonies.
And you need to read the
How
state
many of you knew
constitutions
that?
before anything else. 9 out of 13 of the original
How many
states
people
require
knew
you
that
to be a
there were
Bible-believing Christian
these
to
were
serve in
actual
government.
things that this is not me
How many of you
coming
knew
on a
that?
sermon or nothing. This is me repeating history,
How many people knew
making sure that
there
we
were-
understand
these were actual things
what
this is
our
not
founding
me
fathers were thinking.
coming on a sermon or nothing. This is me repeating history, making
And
sure that we understand
when I'll
what
go out
our
tonight
founding
after
fathers
the
were
dentist,
thinking.
hopefully my mouth is feeling all right, and I can go to the meet and greet
And
at Iron Horse Grill
When
at 5:30
I'll
tonight.
go out tonight
But
after the dentist,
you know,
hopefully
I
my
totally
mouth is
expect
feeling all
people
right.
who
and
like,
I can
Andy,
go
I
to
like
the,
your
the
message,
meet and greet
but
at
it's too
Iron
much
Horse Grill at 5:30
spirituality.
tonight.
I don't know what to
But
tell you.
You know, I totally expect people who like Andy, I like your message, but it's too
If
much.
you want to find the
spirituality.
answers, it's out
I
there.
don't know what to tell
Text
you.
coming in saying, Andy, where's the clip? If you just go Charlie Cliff
If you want to find
debate
the answers,
on
it's out
YouTube,
there.
you'll pull up the whole
Text
45
coming in
minutes.
saying,
I'll
Andy,
try to
where's the
upload this
If you
clip
just go
and
Charlie
see if I can
Cliff
get permission,
debate
because
on YouTube,
I know
you'll
it's
pull up the
turning
whole
point
45
clip.
minutes. I'll
It's a
try to
Charlie Kirk
upload this clip
and I
and
don't
see
want to
if I
violate
can
any
get
copyright there,
permission,
but
because
for
I know it's
professional
Turning
use.
Point clip. It's a Charlie
I
Kirk
think
clip.
this is a great learning tool.
And I don't want to violate any
Charlie said that
copyright
he
there,
wanted to
but
be
for,
courageous in his
you
faith.
know,
Well,
professional use.
there's just one example.
I
There's
think this is
plenty
a
of
great learning
examples
tool.
out there of
And,
Charlie just delivering
Charlie
the mail.
said that he wanted to be courageous in his faith.
And
well,
truthfully,
there's
I
just
think
one example.
that's going to
There's
be one of
plenty
his greatest
examples out there of
legacies.
Charlie just
is
delivering
that
the
20
mail.
or 30 years from now, we'll have this.
Truthfully, I think that's
And
going to be one of his greatest legacies.
other generations,
is that
generations
20
not
or
even
30 years
born
from
yet,
now,
will be able to listen
we'll
to it.
have this.
I've
And
sent this to, like I said, a lot of my
Other
personal friends,
generations,
both conservative
not
and
even
liberal.
born yet, be able to listen
And
to it.
I have to say that this is the 1st time
I've
where
sent this to,
some
like
of
I
my
said, a lot
liberal
of my
friends
personal friends, both
didn't
conservative and liberal,
just get back to me. Yeah, whatever. They actually took
I
the
have
time
to
to
say
listen
that
to
this
it.
is the first time where some of
And
my liberal friends
actually, some of
didn't
them actually said he made
just
some valid
get back
points
to
there.
me,
They
yeah,
don't
whatever.
necessarily
They
agree
actually
with
took
them
the time
now.
to listen to it.
But again,
And
the evidence
actually, some of them
that 9 of
actually said he made some
13
valid points there. They don't necessarily agree with them
states
now.
you had to have a statement of faith.
But again, the evidence
That's evidence of
that
the
9 of
claim
13
that we're a
states
spiritual
you
Christian
had to have
nation.
a
That's what we were
statement of
formed
faith.
on. There's actual
That's
proof there.
evidence of the claim
And
that we're a
when we go
spiritual
out
Christian
into
nation. That's what we're
society
formed
today,
on. There's actual proof there.
and you see somebody out there
And
preaching,
when we go
you're
out
like,
into
man, that's
society
crazy.
today,
especially, and
and
everybody has
and you
their
see
own way to
somebody
talk about stuff.
out
But
there
for me, a gentle
preaching,
answer
you're
turns
like,
away
man, that's
wrath, harsh
crazy.
word
And
incites anger.
especially, and everybody has
I
their own
do
way
everything
to talk about stuff.
possible
But for me, a
to make
gentle
you
answer
think, to
turns away
provoke
wrath,
you to
harsh word
think,
incites
but
anger.
I don't want to provoke you to anger.
I do everything possible
Because the minute
to make you think, to provoke you
provoke
to
into
think,
anger,
but I don't
you
want to
start going
provoke
down
you to
an
anger.
emotional road. And
Because
it kills
the minute
me.
you
Last week when we
provoke
got home
into
from
anger,
Spain, there was
you
this
start going down an emotional
Oregon
road.
congresswoman on there. She goes,
And
we just need to
it
calm down.
kills
We're
me.
all a little
Last
bit
week
too
when we
emotional
got
right
home
now.
from Spain, there was this
A Democrat congresswoman
Oregon
said this.
congresswoman
And I was
on there.
like,
She
where
goes,
is it?
"We
I know it
just
was
need
on
to calm down.
MSNBC.
We're all a little bit too emotional.
I know it was on
right
Saturday,
now."
but I looked
A
for
Democrat
a good 2
congresswoman
hours
said this.
trying to find
And
that.
I was like, where
that
is it? I
sucker,
know it
and
was
I
on
couldn't find it,
MSNBC.
which is a
I know it was
shame
on
because
Saturday,
that's
but
the
I
kind of
looked
stuff
for a
we
good
like
2
to
hours
talk about
trying
here
to
on the
find
Andrew Gosser Show.
that sucker, and I couldn't find it, which is a shame because that's the kind of stuff
We could spend,
we like to talk about here
like I
on
said,
the Andrew
either
Gosser
the rest
Show.
of this hour, we could spend the whole show just breaking this down. We could, but I just want to
We
give
could
Charlie
spend,
the props.
like I said,
a-
either the
and
rest of this
let
hour,
all of
we
you
could
know
spend the whole
this
show
is
just
this
breaking
is the
this down.
reason
We
that
could,
they
but
took away Charlie.
I just
from
want
us.
to give Charlie the props and let all of you
I
know.
don't think it's
this
too
is-
far to say
this is
that
the
he
reason
could
that
have been
they
the Rush Limbaugh
took away
of
Charlie from
that
us.
generation. And now other people will have to step up. I don't know
think
who
it's
it will
too
be,
far to say that he could have been the Rush Limbaugh of that generation.
but we need to support
and now other people will have to step up. I don't know who it will
Charlie's
be,
work. We need to continue doing that. I know on the 29th of
but
October
we need to support
at Ole Miss,
Charlie's work. We
they're
need
going to
to
have a
continue
turning
doing
point
that.
event.
I know on the
I'm going to
29th
try to
of
make sure to be
October,
there, but we'll have more
at
time to
Ole
talk about this.
Miss,
But I think
they're going to have a turning point
giving
event.
Charlie
I'm going to try to
his
make
due
sure to
for
be
all
there.
the great work he did
But
here
we'll
on
have more
Earth
time to talk about
is
this, but
amazing.
I think
and he's up there now
giving
in a
Charlie
white garment.
his due
kicking
for
back.
all the great work he did
And well,
here
he's
on
not
Earth
kicking back. He's
is
working.
amazing,
Knowing Charlie,
and he's
working.
up there now.
Anyways, we're
white
going to take our
garment,
next break. You're
kicking
listening to the
back.
Andrew Gosser Show on
And,
103.9
well, he's not kicking back.
WYAB.
He's
We will
working.
be
Knowing
right
Charlie,
back.
He's working. Anyways, we're going to take our next break. You're listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We will be right back.
.9 WYAB.
Oh, yeah. Welcome back to the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. If you want to be part of the show today, 601-879-0002, text line 601-879-5060. Keeping with the Turning Point USA theme and the Charlie Kirk motif that we're painting here, we've heard about Clinton High School, for whatever reason, not having a Turning Point chapter this year. There was a college, Oklahoma State University. Go Pokes. If you know, you know. Pistol Pete. That's a whole nother story. But in Oklahoma, you got to understand something. Oklahoma is the only state in the nation where every county voted Republican. Democrats did not win one county in Oklahoma in 2024. Look it up. Oklahoma is a conservative state. I love Oklahoma. Full disclosure, I was stationed at Tinker Air Force Base. Loved it. New Orleans is a great place to live, but it ain't nothing like Mississippi. But I'm telling you, Oklahoma is a good state. Well, Oklahoma State University chastised an undergrad for wanting to have a Turning Point USA chapter. And they chastised him for wearing a white 47 hat. As you know, President Trump has many versions of his Make America Great Again hat. He's got the dark MAGA, the red MAGA traditional. Some say 45, some say 45, 47. There's all sorts of different variants out there. But this kid wore this, and he got reprimanded. And it was absolutely insane because OSU students hold memorial for Charlie Kirk, and it was like the university was low playing this. They keeping this on the down low. And for me personally, we need more Turning Point USA chapters out there in our schools, but we need people like many of us who are listening to be mentors to those groups. Not where you're going to tell the kids what to do and why to do it, but they will come to you with questions. And you should absolutely we should absolutely have chapters there with people who can provide not necessarily directive action and interdiction, but say, hey, have you thought this through all the way? This is why we were thinking what we were thinking. If you go down this road, you're going to have these objectives completed, but you're going to create these other fires. Is it really going to be worth the time? And long story short is that Oklahoma State University right now is going through this whole rigmarole where they've got the administrator allegedly on tape basically saying it's going to be hard for you if you continue going down this road. And I'm trying to find that. If I find it during the top of the hour break, I'll play it. But if not, we'll just let it go here. But I did want to bring that up because Mississippi is not the only state, and Clinton is not the only high school or college that is having a hard time forming Turning Point USA chapters. And that's the ultimate goal of this, by the way. They don't have to sit there and block it forever. They just have to take it and try to remove some of the momentum, some of the energy. Because if they can do that, then they can start to continue to mold this country in the image of their desires and not necessarily what the framers want or anybody else. And that, to me, that story about Oklahoma State just really kind of got to me. All right. Now we need to talk about the Trumpster, Donald J. Trump. If you looked at any of the polling that's been reported in the mainstream media or the cable news networks, you would see that President Trump's approval rating is horrible. They are not talking about what the poll is saying. They're looking for one number out of a slew of numbers, and they turn that one number as that's the most important number in the entire poll. And the truth of the matter is if you go to Rasmussen Reports daily presidential tracking poll, I highly encourage that. Rasmussen to me seems to be the one pollster. And look, he when Trump is doing poorly or the Republicans are stinking out the joint, they definitely report that in their polling. And I don't live by the polls, but every once in a while, it's nice to get a shot in the arm. 51% of likely U.S. voters approve of President Trump's job performance. 48% disapprove. Wow. There's 1% margin of error and all that. Think about that. It says tracking shows that likely voters, people who are likely to vote, 51% support Trump. That tells me that not only is he getting the roughly 38% of the country that's conservative, and there's about 40% that it considers themselves liberal. That's a fair statement right now. It's changing rapidly. It used to be 32-44. And now I believe it's 38-40. But he would win election again, which is incredible. The latest figures include 35% who strongly approve of Trump's job and 40% who strongly disapprove. This gives presidential approval rating of -5. So it's still a negative number. But if you remember during his first presidential term and during the election cycle, he had negatives, -12, -14. I believe a political poll had him at -20, which was arguably the biggest negative that we ever saw. The fact of the matter is that this president is truly acting presidential, and there's never been anybody like him in my lifetime. I have to say this, and this is a big deal for us Gen Xers. I believe what President Trump did in Gaza is bigger than what President Reagan did in Iceland. Because Trump's mission was harder. Because those guys, that ideology, they're not afraid to literally run in there and blow themselves up. Russians wanted to live too. Gorbachev knew that Reagan wasn't playing around. He spoke nicely and was a gentle giant and a soft smile and a great joke. But if he had to politically go in and tear your head off, it was going to happen. It was going to be quick, and you were going to be done. I don't think anybody could even disagree with me with the fact that what Trump did in Gaza was more difficult and will have more historic implications than Reagan in Iceland. And that's just how I feel about it. Going back and looking at the daily tracker there, and what I'll do right now while we're talking is I'm running to X real quick, and I will post the daily tracking poll. I don't talk on this every day. Don't need to. I don't want to get stuck in a poll doom loop, whether I like something or not like something. But I'll post this right here at X, and you can get that at Andrew Gosser on X. And truth of the matter is that Trump is a popular guy. So popular, in fact, Time put him on the cover today. And have you seen the Time cover? Trump is ticked. He believes that they actually balded him out. And if you look at that picture of Trump on Time, it's horrible. And so many of us who are politicians or in the news, we're getting cremated. You are writing paragraph upon paragraph talking about what an evil person we are, and you can't even get a neutral picture. I'll never forget, we were paving a road, and it's the end of the day in Illinois. It gets hot there, believe it or not, 95, 98 with humidity. It's very similar to here. People are like, Andy, no. I'm like, well, it does happen. And I'm covered in asphalt sweat, just nasty, but we got the road done. And up comes this local reporter and takes this picture of me, and it looks like I'm about ready to die. And then it's got this whole article of me complaining, and then talks about how we just completed paving a subdivision. It's beyond me how these liberal journalists do what they do. I don't understand that. Politically, I understand it. If you are my political enemy and you want to make me look bad, I could totally see you coming and trying to find a picture of me in an awkward situation. It's almost like what they did with Elon when he was tapping his heart and then stuck his hand out, and everybody thought he was doing a fascist symbol. And everybody knew he was full of it, that the news media was full of it. But this is what they do. And they do not stop. They do not stop. They just continue to go after it and after it. And at some point, well, CNN is about to go away. CBS is completely turned on its head, which is beautiful. ABC, I believe, is in trouble. Disney's in trouble. MSNBC/MS Now/BS Always, they're in the tank. So, and we'll talk about that on Friday when the new numbers come out. The ad revenue numbers. I think it's important that we continue to track that because our side is doing great stuff. We're going to go to our next break, but when we get back, man, the first hour's already gone. When we get back, we are going to talk about Kingfish and Jackson Jambalaya. We got a story from Kingfish that's pretty good. Hang on in there. We'll be right back. You're listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB.
Knock your healthcare needs out of the park with City Center Drugs. Hi, this is Mary Beth Hardy, owner of City Center Drugs, located at the District at Eastover in Jackson. City Center Drugs is your home run destination for prescriptions, over-the-counter medications, vaccines, and even unique gifts with custom gift wrapping. Whether you're aiming to maintain a healthy lifestyle or looking to score the perfect gift, City Center Drugs has got you covered. Swing by today and experience the winning team at City Center Drugs. Visit us online at citycenterdrugs.com and go Braves.
Green's Tire and Auto on Ridgewood Road in Ridgeland can do it all. Is your check engine light on? Take it to Green's. Air not blowing cold anymore? Take it to Green's. Squeaky brakes, bald tires, misaligned front end? Take it to Green's. Green's Tire and Auto can do it all. Your car can operate just like new again when you take it to Green's. Green's Tire and Auto, Ridgewood Road in Ridgeland. Take it to Green's. 601-957-0201.
Here at Lake and Glass and Tint, we've become well known for two things: window tint and windshields. Now, when it comes to window tint, you already know that we're the go-to for home, car, and office. And as always, we offer free consultations. So if you're in the need of window tint or windshields, give us a call, 601-946-1000. Check us out on Facebook or Instagram or at lakeandglassandtint.com. Lake and Glass and Tint, where quality matters.
Men, if you answer yes to any of these questions, you could be suffering from low testosterone. Do you have low sex drive? ED, always tired, depressed, loss of muscle mass, obese, loss of focus and drive? You, my friends, need to get your numbers checked. Check out Men's Health of Mississippi, located in Madison, Mississippi, and online at menshealthms.com. Guys, get your numbers checked today. Trust me, she'll thank you for it. I promise. menshealthms.com. Men's Health of Mississippi.
If you're a parent or grandparent, you should know that even though Mississippi is ranked as the unhealthiest state in the country, we have the highest vaccination rate for our children and grandchildren. Many of us blindly trust the medical establishment, and now it's time to question vaccine safety. Mississippi Parents for Vaccine Rights is a grassroots organization working to educate the public and lawmakers about this important topic. Be informed. Go to mpvr.org. Like us on Facebook to stay up to date on the latest information. That's Mississippi Parents for Vaccine Rights, mpvr.org.
Business owners, tired of drowning in payroll, compliance, and back office headaches? P-Police has your back. P-Police can free you from the never-ending grind of employee administration, such as time and attendance, onboarding, background checks, even business insurance. While you focus on growing your business, P-Police handles the paperwork. Stop stressing and start succeeding. Partner with P-Police, locally based in Ridgeland. Visit ppolice.com and get back to business.
I'm speaking with Lee Bounds of Rapid Rate Mortgage. How does real estate agent Rita Jensen succeed when time is of the essence?
In today's market, it is so important to communicate and close on time. Typically have 30 days to close, get a home inspection, appraisal, title work, that kind of thing is a mortgage process. And a realtor relationship is so important. With a realtor like Rita Jensen with Remax Connection, she helps us to close on time.
RitaJensen.net.
I like my insurance like I like my burrito, with everything rolled into one. Was in a state of craving amigo, till my agent showed me how it's done. He wrapped up my auto, my home, and my life. The discounts I'm getting are great. Everything good right there on one plate. Get to a better state, State Farm.
To keep more of your money in your pocket, call John Dorsa at 978-2302.
And welcome back to the Andrew Gospel Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. Jackson Jambalaya, ladies and gentlemen. And this is stemming from all the homecoming shootings in the culture that is rotting. And we continue to document that heavily right here on 103.9 WYAB. Clay Edwards and Kim Wade, Chip Matthews all do a great job. I kind of the bottom rung there. I'm getting there. They know Mississippi so much better than me, but this is what is honestly the problem with culture rot, with when we break away from where our founding fathers had us. Mississippi High School Activities Association recommends all high schools cease tailgating this year. Now, I have to be honest with you. I'm not an American football fanatic or fan. I know my church loves LSU, and I'm an Arsenal guy. And so you just see the two differences there, and it just doesn't work. But I know high school football is a big deal to a lot of places. It's our community's identity in a lot of these smaller communities. Terry High School, for example. It's a big deal. And a lot of people base their weeks, blue collar crew, busting their butts so that they can go get off at a reasonable hour to go catch the game. And, you know, we are Americans after all. We perfected the tailgate. You can get Michelin star meals on tailgates. There are some people out there that just take it to the next level. And even though it's Tuesday and the shootings happened over the weekend, it's still uncanny to me. It's almost, I feel like somebody must have pushed a button somewhere and just activated all of this craziness. It's beyond me. But yep, that's what Brother Kingfish has got going on. Donald Trump chiming in again, talking about daylight savings time. I thought this was important. President Trump basically says, yep, not a good deal. We should change back the daylight savings time and just go to one standard for as much daylight as possible. And I agree with that. I know Arizona doesn't do that, but that's something we can do. The final story here before we go to break, and I don't know how you all feel about this, but it's definitely a big deal to me. Let me hit something here real quick. It's definitely a big deal to me, and that is the Pentagon kicking out all of the reporters of the Pentagon. The Associated Press is now joining the New York Times and refusing to follow the new Pentagon press policy of preventing them from freely roaming the halls and jeopardizing sensitive information. Did you know that you had reporters running around the Pentagon? just doing whatever they want to do with their press badge. Man, we need to get those jokers out of there. There's a lot of sensitive information. You're listening to The Andrew Gosser Show. We'll be back in about 8 minutes. Take care, everybody. Be blessed.
This is Central Mississippi's Stimulating Club.
1039 WYAB, Pocahontas, Jackson.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Steve Kathan. The U.S. Supreme Court's rejected an appeal from the conspiracy theorist Alex Jones.
The court is leaving in place the $1.4 billion defamation judgment against the InfoWars founder for his claims that the 2012 Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting in Newtown, Connecticut was a hoax staged by crisis actors as part of a plan to enact more gun laws.
The official story of Sandy Hook has more holes in it than Swiss cheese.
In court 3 years ago, Jones admitted he knew the shooting really happened. In their Supreme Court filing, his lawyer said the $1.4 billion can never be paid. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Jones is also appealing a separate $49 million judgment against him in Texas. Cody Ballmer, the man charged with setting fire to the Pennsylvania governor's mansion, has pleaded guilty to attempted murder and other charges. Day 14 of the government shutdown. CBS's Stacey Lynn is in Washington.
In a post on social media, the White House Office of Management and Budget says it's prepared to ride out the Democrats during the ongoing shutdown, adding, pay the troops, pay law enforcement, continue the rifts and wait. The post by OMB comes after the president announced this weekend the administration has identified funds to pay the military tomorrow.
On the Health Watch, CBS's Allison Keyes tells us Roche Diagnostics has had a key blood test approved by the FDA.
Roche says in a clinical study with 312 participants, the Alexis blood test was able to rule out Alzheimer's with a 97.9% negative predictive value. The company says the test can be used to help identify patients who are unlikely to have Alzheimer's, while those with a positive result will be recommended for further testing.
One person is dead, 2 others missing in western Alaska as the remnants of a typhoon swept away homes and prompted dozens of rescues.
I felt the house shaking. I saw the flood coming into our house and it was very dirty and things were floating everywhere.
Forecasters fear heavy rain in Southern California could spark mudslides in areas that have been hit by wildfires. It seems a changing electric vehicle market is going to cost General Motors a lot of money. Reporter Jeff Gilbert at affiliate WWJ Detroit.
GM will take a $1.6 billion charge against its fourth quarter earnings and has warned that more of the same could be coming in the future. GM bet big on EVs, and the government changed emission rules and also ended tax incentives for the purchase of electric vehicles.
New Instagram content default settings for teens are targeted for a PG-13 audience. Only parents can change them. Wall Street, the Dow is up 148. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive. See why over 43 million drivers trust Progressive to stay protected on the road. See for yourself at progressive.com.
Do you hear that? Asthma triggers are everywhere, from dust mites, pet dander, and pollen, to smog and smoke. An asthma attack can strike anywhere, anytime. Be prepared with quick-acting Primatene Mist, clinically proven to open airways quickly. It's the #1 FDA-approved asthma inhaler available over the counter. Primatene Mist. Breathe easy again. Use as directed.
Vanity Fair calls BritBox a delicious streamer. Collider says everyone should be watching. Catch Britain's next best series with BritBox. Stream acclaimed new originals like Code of Silence.
You read lips, right?
And Lindley, based on the best-selling mystery series.
Say hi, Lindley. Take it from here.
And don't miss the new season of Karen Piri coming this October.
You don't look like police. I'll take that as a compliment.
See it differently when you stream the best of British TV with BritBox.
Local news and weather brought to you by Mississippi Energy Services. We're your fast, affordable, and friendly generator service company. msenergy.us. msenergy.us.
Stopping high school tailgating 85 and sunny this afternoon. Tonight, mostly clear and 57. Wednesday, sunny and 86. It makes it up to 89 Thursday. You've got news on 103.9 WYAB. I'm Chris Davis. A recommendation came Monday from the Mississippi High School Activities Association and Executive Director Ricky Neves to put an end to high school tailgating.
If you have tailgates, know that these must be supervised by school personnel or by security and make sure what's going into those areas.
He says some people have been bringing alcohol, and that's a definite no-no with high school activities. Meanwhile, in Heidelberg, a second arrest has been made in the homecoming killing that happened there Friday. 19-year-old Dameron Starks is charged with accessory after the fact and tampering with evidence. Saturday, police made the first arrest and believe as many as 4 people may have been involved. Meanwhile, in Leland, where 6 people died and 10 others were hurt this weekend, the city has adjusted its curfew for people under 21. They've got to be home no later than 10 o'clock Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and 9 p.m. all other days. A murder in Clinton had happened Monday at the Windsor Village Apartments, according to a spokesperson for the city. They ID'd the woman killed as 45-year-old Delilah Harris, and police say she was shot several times. While no arrest has been announced, they do have a person of interest. The Wednesday execution of Charles Ray Crawford of Tippah County is likely to go forward as scheduled, with Governor Tate Reeves saying Monday he will not be blocking the lethal injection. Crawford was convicted in the 1993 kidnapping, rape, and murder of Christy Ray. His lawyers are asking the U.S. Supreme Court to intervene. More news in 1 hour on 103.9 WYAB. I'm Chris Davis.
The views and opinions expressed.
Yes, yes, you are. You are tuned into the Andrew Gasser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. It's Tuesday, the 14th of October, 2025. Charlie Kirk's birthday. Happy birthday, brother. We are streaming on Rumble. We are streaming on X. We are streaming on YouTube, and we are streaming at WYAB.com. We're getting closer and closer to having that boosted signal. It's going to be powerful. It's going to be a blowtorch. But if for some reason you can't get the signal, hey, there's a place for you to find it online. Please, if you wouldn't mind, like and subscribe to the stream. And if you wouldn't mind following me on X, that'd be awesome. Andrew Gasser, AndrewGasser. I just reposted President Trump's tweet or truth on daylight savings time. It's a great place for us to communicate in, and I appreciate that. Also, the chat, Eric Melton is actually making a lot of really good points. And one of them here is you can't have a conversation with people. The minute you disagree, they act like a small child and throw a tantrum. And it's true. You don't have to be at a tailgate, or you can just be walking down the street and someone hears what they're saying, and all of a sudden they inject themselves into your conversation where they weren't even involved. It's crazy. Look, the mission here at the Andrew Gasser Show is to equip the saints. You are the saints. And I told you once, and I'll continue to tell them to you again, gentle answers turn away wrath, but harsh words incite anger. My goal is to try to get more and more people agree with me without firing up the other side so much they no longer care. So we talked about the presidential polls, but what we haven't talked about yet is the school choice debate that's going on in Mississippi. And it's really interesting to see these two sides actually start tagging up with each other and start talking about who's siding with who. This is coming from the Magnolia Tribune. Russ Latino, his organization, got to give the credit. Lawmakers' school choice dilemma. Side with Donald Trump and Mississippi parents or side with the Southern Poverty Law Center? Well, with a headline like that, you're darn skippy. I'm going to click on that. The Southern Poverty Law Center, described in Politico as a partisan progressive heat operation, has announced $330,000 in donations to the Mississippi organization leading to fight against parents who want to say how their children are educated. Their opposition stands in stark contrast to the preeminent politicians like President Trump who support more options for families. And look, there is two sides to this issue, and I want to make very clear, because Clay and I, we disagree on majorities of this, not everything, but there has to be some protections in place for some of these really small school districts who provide really great education to their kids, and all of a sudden they have to start accepting kids from outside the district when they don't have the means to go ahead and do that. That is the most valid argument against school choice that I can come up with. Because choice is important. Choice is huge. Think about this. Your kids get the majority of their moral values and structure between the ages of 2 to 7. Some say 2 to 6, some say 2 to 5. I'm going to say 2 to 7. I'm an optimist. I want as much time to absorb all the information I can get. You want to send your kids to the choice to send your kids to a great school. That's the most important thing out there. And if we are spending the money because we've agreed that a public education is critical, if we're spending the money and the kid's parents want to send them somewhere else, that money should follow the kids. Now, and this is all really important stuff. There, of course, there's checks and balances. You want to make sure that and I think the number from the last school choice hearing that I was able to attend, the number was $12,185 per student in Mississippi. That's a lot of money per student. Out of that has to come all of the facilities, teacher salaries, and those are manageable. What's not manageable is the administration costs that education, specifically public education, is costing. And I know we have a lot of great followers and listeners here who are very in tune with what's happening in local school districts, whether that be Madison, Rankin. We've got somebody in Copiah County and somebody in Lee County who is keeping me up to date on that. And I appreciate all that. The thing about this that makes me kind of really start to scratch my head is Southern Poverty Law Center is notorious for you can have a left point of view, but they're just notorious for just ripping people to shreds without any proof of the accusations that they're stating. And then they just leave a mess. And they're like, my job here is done. $330,000. That's a lot of money. That's at least two mailers. And depending on how, and you would have to assume that these people have the best political campaign people, so they'll understand how to maximize those dollars to touch as many people as they can, whether that be through print mail, online ads, maybe even radio. Maybe I should call the Southern Poverty Law Center and see if they'll run a commercial here just to see what they do. It might melt their phone when they pick up and realize who they're talking to. What's really interesting in this is that we are seeing yet again, and again, this isn't for the people on the far left, but those of us who are in the middle, you're seeing where the center and the right are aligning up on this, and you've got just these crazy organizations out there. It's almost like a non-government nonprofit agency, whether it's like a George Soros type of deal where George Soros just ran hundreds and hundreds of states attorneys for counties and did incredible damage across the United States. I wish Republicans would see this and then start doing that themselves, much like what Charlie's doing. Because the bottom line is whether we get school choice or not, you're seeing who's aligning with who. And we're seeing this country kind of reform itself to go back more to the middle, to go a little bit more to the right. The crazy wokeness has to end. It has to end. You know, I have a friend of mine who's an exobiologist and good friend of mine. He did a lot of work at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena, and is really knowledgeable. And he's a little bit more of a conservative, but I asked him the question. I'm like, how do you tell, what you're looking at? And he's basically going through, well, looking at the structures of these animals or these creatures and stuff, he could go through and tell by the hips, okay, this was a woman, this was a man. I'm like, how do you tell a trans? And he just rolled his eyes at me. The science behind all this, the educational system that allowed us to get to this point to where we have these mental illnesses and stuff like that is the direct cause is the education system. And here we're trying to fix it. And look, so many of us realize that not everybody's going to be able to send their kid out of their school district. But if the parents are going ahead and paying for their child's education at a different school, whether it be charter school, private school, those tax dollars that are following that kid, that they should follow him. Eric says it's the land of pretend and make believe. That just fired something off. And I haven't even talked about this, and everybody knows that AI is a big issue with me, but the new Sora 2 video editor is absolutely insane. They've got a video out there of Mr. Rogers and Eazy-E just talking insane. And if you didn't know any better, if you would say this is real. It's just a matter of time before we had it good. It was like, oh, that's photoshopped. You can tell that's fake, whatever. Now you're looking at some of these videos and it's to the point to where it's very hard to discern it. And we still have no way. We have no way to actually detect the AI. Or if we do, it's not being shared with the rest of the public. Maybe we should do a little bit better educating our kids here in Mississippi so that they can have the difference to discern, not necessarily by what they're seeing, but by what they're hearing. I mean, that's the reason we listen to WYB, because we want to hear what's going on and we want to be challenged to think. Chip makes you think. Clay makes you think. Kim makes you think. Yep. But I just found it interesting that the Southern Poverty Law Center decided to get involved with this. And the article, which I'll put on X right now by Russ, what I really like about it, and I'm not going to read it word for word. I want you to go there, click on it, and support Russ. But he really breaks down some of the stuff that the Southern Poverty Law Center has done. And I'll put that on my X account here at the break. And when we get back, we need to talk about SpaceX and what happened yesterday. because last night after the successful flight, I had about 40 people, many of them my old space colleagues, but surprisingly 5 or 6 from Mississippi who were complaining about SpaceX and the government money that they've been given. And this was one of the things that I did for almost 7 years of my life. I know where the dollars went. I know how they were paid, and I know what was paid back and what wasn't. And we're going to talk about that when we get back. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. We will be right back.
All these people acting like the sky is falling. All this tariff talk has folks real nervous, but at iGear Optical, we've got you covered. Our prices remain solid on all our quality products, while all other shops are raising prices. We are not. Come get a great pair of eyeglasses, computer glasses, or sunglasses that fit you, your lifestyle, and your budget every day at iGear Optical, 2630 Highway 80 East in Pearl, and on the web at iGearOptical.com.
Your roof is constantly exposed to the elements, battling dirt, algae, and stains. But with Watkins Construction and Roofing Roof Wash Service, you can keep it looking like new. A proprietary rooficide treatment is EPA approved, safe, and guaranteed to prevent algae from coming back for at least 2 years. No harsh chemicals, no damage, no black streaks. Just a clean, beautiful roof that lasts. Call Watkins Construction and Roofing at 601-966-8233 or visit nomoreroofstains.com today.
Antique Mall of the South has 14,000 square feet of pristine, clean floor space. Home to beautiful, timeless antique treasures. Antique Mall of the South is open Monday to Saturday, 10 to 5. Check them out online at antiquemallofthesouth.com or go to the Antique Mall of the South Facebook page. You can also read the dozens of 5-star reviews online. Come see for yourself at Antique Mall of the South in Ridgeland. Now open Monday to Saturday, 10 to 5. That's Antique Mall of the South, Highway 51 in Ridgeland.
Whether new construction or remodeling, Stephen Arrington and his team at Elite Custom Construction can design and build your dream kitchen and cabinets, inside and outside. Using high-quality products, Elite Custom Construction specializes in cabinetry and intricate millwork. Established in 2011, licensed and insured, Elite Custom Construction is your solution to your next project. Call Stephen at 601-927-0552 or visit them online at elitecustomconstruction.net.
Why don't you mind your own business?
Mind my own business? What's that supposed to mean?
No, I was just thinking about all of the news of tax changes, insurance changes, regulations that are being passed down to business owners. I don't have the time to keep growing and to keep up with changing payroll regulations.
I know. It seems like all I do is handle employee-related problems.
You know, I hear People Lease can help.
How can they help?
People Lease can handle our payroll, taxes, employee benefits, and workers' compensation. They even offer an affordable and customizable 401k program and a 24/7 online human resources support center for all my HR needs.
Think of all the time we'll save letting People Lease handle our payroll and benefits administration. I'll be busy growing my business and letting People Lease take care of the rest.
Sounds like a good business plan with People Lease.
Let People Lease mind your business so you can mind your own business. Call now 601-987-3025. That's 601-987-3025. Or visit freepayrollquotes.com for your free quote.
Ladies, tired of running on empty, sleepless nights, mood swings, stubborn weight, skin that has lost its glow? It is not just getting older. It is your body begging for help. Hey, y'all, I'm Morgan at Women's Wellness in Mississippi. At Women's Wellness in Mississippi, we bring it all together. Hormone therapy, medical weight loss, and the latest, greatest aesthetic treatments like facials, lasers, Botox, and so much more. This is where wellness and beauty meet so that you can feel amazing inside and out. At Women's Wellness in Mississippi, the best version of you is waiting right around the corner.
And we are back at WYAB 103.9, and you are tuned into the Andrew Gosser Show. Absolutely great conversation about school choice and Southern Poverty Law Center. We'll have to continue that on another date. But right now, it's one of those things that it's just when you think about the United States of America, you think about NASA, Some of us can remember the rockets that took us to the moon, the Saturn V rockets. Some of us can remember the space shuttle. But this new generation of kids has Starship. And Starship, its development progress has been fantastic. And people are looking at me, especially a lot of my science friends, and saying, have you seen some of those explosions and some of the problems that they had? I'm like, yes. That's exactly how Elon works. So it's not surprising to me that yesterday, with the final flight, Flight 11 of its Block 2 aircraft or spacecraft, Block 2 booster, they're making a bunch of changes. It was essentially a flawless flight. Even with all the experiments that they're doing. And I have knowledge of this because when we're testing, we test to failure. We absolutely push that vehicle, whether it be an airplane, a train, a spaceship, whatever it is, submarine, boat, we push it to the max to figure out what will actually break it. If something really gets out of hand, what can we do to fix it? And the truth of the matter is yesterday, it was a beautiful launch. And if you haven't taken the time to watch a SpaceX launch of this booster, it's worth your 16 minutes. And they have the ones that, speed up through space so you can see it flying around. And then watching the re-entry of Starship is incredible. If you are a space nerd like me, and I don't even pretend to try to hide it, but the pictures that they showed from the space shuttle when they were re-entering and how the windows would just start to glow a little bit red, and you could see the fire, the plasma billowing over the nose and rolling off the top of the shuttle. That was really breathtaking. I can remember watching the first video of that. Of course, it was taped because they didn't have the ability to transmit through the ionosphere when all of that craziness is going on. But SpaceX, with its Starlink system, has such good coverage, and they've put such power in this. You can actually see the cameras as it's falling through the atmosphere, and you can just see the plasma build up. It starts off as cool, cool colors, and then it'll get orange, white hot, and then it'll get blue hot again. It is absolutely breathtaking to watch, and the science behind this. So I want to, especially with my conservative friends, I don't understand why they're so upset with this. And I think we even talked about it yesterday. I'll say it again. And I even had somebody reach out to me and say that I was correct, that SpaceX did get a $1.6 billion loan, and SpaceX paid that loan back to the government with interest. So I don't understand, for me personally, why people are so upset with what's going on with SpaceX. Right now, for $250 and $120 a month, you can get unlimited internet. Starlink, it's the greatest thing. Our house, we have it in Terry. We're out in the middle of nowhere with no cable, no fiber. We had to use a different satellite network, and I'm grateful for it because it worked some of the time. It was better than nothing. But I'll tell you what, this Starlink stuff is great. Not that we're big TV watchers, but if the Sweet Toots, the Sweet Bee, and myself all want to stream different stuff, we can go through our Starlink and on 5 different devices. We could have 2 computers on plus 3 handheld, all sucking down the bandwidth. No problem. And the truth of the matter is that what's happening with Starship, that is what's going to ultimately take us back to the moon and ultimately take us to Mars. Now, I had all this stuff sent to me about how bad SpaceX was and how great China's doing. And it seems like some people are predicting that China will get to the moon, back to the moon before us, almost like they got to the moon first. They're completely dismissing everything we did in Apollo. But I genuinely do not believe that. When you look at things that China's doing, whether it be their advanced fighters, their new aircraft carrier, they either knock off the Russians or they knock off America. And, and the one thing you absolutely have to give the Chinese credit for is being able to infiltrate our Department of Defense, our government, because they have the plans for the F-117. They have the plans for the F-22. I don't think they ever got the plans for the B-2. Or if they have, they haven't shown their cards with that yet. But the thing that I'm not necessarily worried about China, but what does worry me about China is that they're continuing to send their kids to American universities. We train them up, get them smart, and then they go back to China and use everything that we taught them against us. It's like we are training our own enemies. And maybe this is a bigger problem with American culture and the culture rot, is that America almost seems to hate itself for no reason. We like the president, we don't like the president. We like the Statue of Liberty, we don't like the Statue of Liberty. We like illegal immigrants, now we don't like illegal immigrants. It's like we're just always arguing, fighting, bickering, and arguing about stuff. And the whole thing with SpaceX is we should be cheering this on. This is great stuff. This isn't, a couple of women flying up in a space capsule, barely over the Kármán line, or maybe not quite to it. This is real spacecraft stuff. And to think that this started back in 2002 when Elon wanted to send a greenhouse experiment to Mars and tried to buy a rocket and couldn't get it. Just me personally, I don't think we celebrate our American citizens enough, our patriots enough. Whether you were born here or came here and became a naturalized citizen going through the process. Because Elon Musk might be the most popular one that we know. There are thousands of people who are doing the same things that he's doing, having impact on business, having big impact in local communities. Granted, probably it's not on the same size as the richest man in the world. But it's not uncommon. We see this all the time in American culture. And so when I just see those things coming at me, and I don't understand why this is normally a conservative issue and people are upset about it. Are we upset then with Tesla cars? Are we then upset with Solar City and their solar energy systems that they have? It almost doesn't make sense to me why we are spending so much time and energy on necessarily taking down an American treasure instead of building it up and seeing where it goes further. It's much like The View and President Trump and what's going on in Gaza. It's like this mental illness is so strong, it's so pervasive, and once it infects you, it's truly like a doom loop. You're just gonna die. You get so depressed and so caught up in the anxiety and the fear, and there's really nothing there. So with respect to SpaceX, what's going to happen next year is you're going to see the next version of the Starship fly. I think there'll be one more iteration. I think we'll go to version 3 of Starship, and then we'll go to version 4, and that's going to be the one that gets us to where we need to go. They'll continue to test it. And what people don't realize too is with SpaceX, there are people inside SpaceX who have really helped out with the shuttle program or the Mars exploration program. Elon's hired all those people. This isn't just a fly-by-night operation. This is the real deal. They're building a new launch pad in Cape Canaveral out in Florida, and also at the Kennedy Space Center. The growth is going to be incredible. There's so much that's been brought to the table because of a company like SpaceX, which can fly hundreds of times per year. I can remember as a boy being excited because there were going to be 20 rocket launches and shuttle missions in 1 year from America. It happened one time, I remember it, and then Columbia accident happened, and everything just kind of spiraled out after that. But think about it. Now we're having 150 missions in a year just from America, just from SpaceX. That doesn't include what NASA's doing with other launch providers, Blue Origin. That doesn't, it doesn't include what the Chinese are doing or the Russians are doing. And you look at what's happened to the Russian space program, completely in the mud. Completely in the mud. They do not have the infrastructure or the brain power to continue the space race. It's now China. And I'm not even sure China has the brain power. I genuinely believe it's just that they are really good at stealing technology, secrets, intellectual property. They're the best at it. So I just wanted to congratulate SpaceX, spend some time on SpaceX, and encourage people to realize that that's not a bad company. Again, we're spending, I think, $1.5 billion inside Mississippi to run fiber to all these places. And we could literally get everybody on Starlink and it would work just fine. Be cheaper and you'd have it right away. Now, and my doctor friend right here, he's texting me right now, what hospitals and schools need direct fiber? Yes, totally agree with that. But I'll tell you what, when you're hooking up schools and you're hooking up hospitals and police departments and fire stations, get all that. But you're not having to run 8 miles of fiber to service 15 customers. You're literally spending a couple $1,000s for some transmitters in a dish to get somebody hooked up to the internet who wouldn't otherwise have it. I'm rambling a little bit, but I also genuinely think that when we look at what SpaceX is doing compared to what the rest of the industry is doing, it's not even close. You're listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We will be right back.
For decades, you've known the name Martin's for good times, great food, and the best live music. Now that's happening at 2 locations, downtown Jackson and Livingston. Check the websites martinslivingstonms.com and martinsdowntownjxn.com for the many special events and live music lineups. You can chill with friends on the big patio at the Livingston location and enjoy the Blue Plate lunches and nightly drink specials. Martin's, downtown and Livingston.
Rotor's Plumbing of Pearl, your familiar plumber with the similar name. Locally owned and operated by Chris Rotor, Rotor's Plumbing is no franchise, simply lower prices and better service without the dreaded overpriced upsell. Rotor's is one of the few places you'll find that actually specialize in tankless water heater repair, as well as being your full-service plumber. And most importantly, service after the sale, meaning the techs actually answer your call, with misses averaging callbacks of 10 minutes or less. Rotor's Plumbing at roedersplumbing.com.
Dr. Mike Stonington here from Stonington Farm Grass-Fed Beef. Here in South Mississippi on Stonington Farm, our steers are grass-fed and grass-finished. No grain, no hormones, no antibiotics, no mRNA vaccines. Our grass-fed and grass-finished beef is straight from our farm to your table. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, and at StoningtonFarm.com. That's StoningtonFarm.com with 2 N's. And we deliver every 4 weeks to the Jackson area. We are the grass-fed difference.
Are you ready to invest in your future? Then invest in land. This is Tom Smith from Tom Smith Land and Homes, Mississippi's premier land and home real estate resource. With land, you can create the lifestyle that you desire, whether it's a home, farm, or recreational getaway. Land means space for memories and a legacy for you and your loved ones. Tom Smith Land and Homes has homes as well as acreage, hunting, and timber properties available throughout Mississippi and the Southeast. Visit TomSmithLandandHomes.com and invest in land and your future today.
Oh, yeah. Welcome back to the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. Big stuff is going on at the Supreme Court. Alex Jones is going to pay $1.4 billion for his Sandy Hook comments. Supreme Court refused to take up his case. And look, Alex has done a lot of really great work and exposed some wild things, and you don't think it's real, but as time goes on, he's proven right. But on this, it is clear to anybody who's looking at it, the judicial system does not agree with him that he should have to pay that fine. And that's blown up my timeline. But the other thing that's blown up my timeline, which is really exciting to me, is this case going on in Louisiana and how they're going to look at the Voter Rights Act. It's like I do sometimes on the show where I will read statements and make them very conservative, and we find out that it's Hillary or it's Bill or it's President Obama or whoever. People are starting to see that the Voter Rights Act, well, we had good intentions. Where did we hear that, listeners? The politics of good intentions. Man, it's been a while since I heard that. The left is known for that. They're just trying to help. It's situations where someone's drowning and the person who knows what the heck to do is being pushed out of the way to the people who want to get there and get the photo op. We've seen hundreds of examples of this where somebody's in duress, and what do? They pull out their phone and record it. We're kind of in a sick shape when it comes to stuff like that. But tomorrow, the Supreme Court is hearing a critical case about congressional redistricting. I hope that they will rule that the kind of gerrymandering that has protected Benny Thompson for years is out. I've got to agree with you, Brother Shad, on that. But I would just say Mississippi, well, it is bad. It is nothing like Illinois or Massachusetts or California. We've got a lot of problems there to solve and to fix. If they do, Mississippi should immediately move to create simple districts that are not gerrymandered to protect Benny Thompson. This case is huge for states like Mississippi. Shad White is correct on this. And we've talked about it on the show. Would the Mississippi GOP actually redraw districting lines? I don't think we would. I just don't think that we have the stomach for it. But that's an exciting story that's blown up right now. I can't wait to have that case decided. And there was a paper I was reading yesterday about the potential swing in electoral college votes starting in 2032 to where the blue wall that we all know, which is Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, they're all going to lose so many electoral college votes out of those states. And they're going to go to places like Texas, Florida, Louisiana, South Carolina. It's going to be increasingly more and more difficult for liberals to do that. Perfect example of this is the state of New York. And this guy running for mayor. Property values are being pressured right now. I've seen 3 reports on it, but people are leaving the state of New York fast. Where they're going? North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida. Warmer weather. But here's the crazy part about it. It's not the liberals who are leaving. It's the conservatives. It's making bluer states more blue, redder states more red. They won't come to Mississippi, though, because our population growth line, we're pretty flat. We go up a little bit, go down a little bit. We've never been above 2.5 million. And I think I'm not sure how many we need for another congressional seat. Isn't it like 850,000 per seat? I believe that's it. Maybe 750. Someone will correct me. But this has incredible implications. And if you think about it, and how we screwed up by electing our senators, that should have never happened. Our state houses were supposed to promote our senators or put people into the state house or to the national senate. And we were supposed to elect our congressmen. The congressmen are the closest direct line to us, the citizens. Our senators were supposed to more represent the state's rights. We don't teach that anymore in school either. That would be a whole. I mean, you could spend 1 year just talking about the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, and the Bill of Rights, and then you could have a whole nother semester or year on everything that's after the Bill of Rights. And I'm not saying that we've got to make our kids lawyers and law students, but they should have the ability to go ahead and talk cogently about our congressional system, how we elect people. And people who are in the political know are really excited what's coming down the pipe for our electoral system going forward. 2028 is going to be tough, but 2032, after the census, California can lose up to like 8 seats. 8 seats that are blue seats, not necessarily red seats. And I'm not sure if people have seen the ballot initiative that they're trying to get to have California redistrict. Their mail-in ballots actually show no votes from the outside. There's a convenient little hole in the voter envelope that basically shows whether or not the circle is filled in. It's breathtaking. Why would you have a random hole in a voter envelope? There shouldn't be any holes in it, number one. It's supposed to be double envelope packed in and everything. Not with this election. So you will see California be allowed to redraw its districts because all they have to do is, as they're collecting the ballots, they see all the no votes already, and they just, they're gone. That's where America has turned to today. It's actually nightmarish. It's very Orwellian, very 1984. But there is hope at the end of the tunnel, and I'm excited for it. So we'll see. What I would want to know how Governor Reeves feels about the Louisiana court case. I'd like to know how other people who are running for governor, lieutenant governor, Andy Gibson. Did Delbert Hoseman actually announce? I genuinely don't know. I haven't been plugged into that. But there are people who are going to run. And there are going to be other offices that are up for election. The AG, the lieutenant governor is going to be huge. And I have to say, I kind of like how Mississippi we have our state set up to where our lieutenant governor is the president of the Senate and can actually work to get things done. If the lieutenant governor's doing his job, we should be. And this is my personal opinion. I genuinely think we should be doing so much more than we do. But that's just from the outside looking in. I'm sure there's other things that need to be put into the calculus to make that all happen. Long story short is that tomorrow, that's going to be that Supreme Court case. And when we get back, we will have our final segment. The 2 hours goes by so quickly, friends. You're listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We will be right back.
.9 WYAB.
It's time to fall into savings at Mazda of Jackson. With ball games, road trips, and all the busyness, don't miss a thing. With 2.9% financing for 36 months on a new 2025 Mazda CX-5. Or get 2.9% financing for 63 months on the 2025 CX-90. 1 year maintenance is included on your new vehicle purchase. And take advantage of the pre-tariff inventory that's almost gone. Shop online at MazdaofJackson.com or visit Mazda of Jackson, I-55 Frontage Road in Jackson.
Yazoo Valley Electric Power Association wants you to stay away from downed power lines. Downed power lines carry the risk of deadly electric shock, even if the broken wire is not sparking. If a wire is crossing a road or driveway, avoid the area and keep others away. If you see a downed power line, back away and call your utility company or 911. When you call, be prepared to provide the specific address or location of the downed power line so a repair crew can get there as quickly as possible. This safety message brought to you by Yazoo Valley Electric Power Association.
High-flying thrills, challenging games, mouth-watering food, and more will be back for the 97th Annual Yazoo County Fair, October 10th through the 18th. I'm Martin McGraw with the Yazoo County Fair Association, calling out all the thrill seekers, food lovers, and fairgoers from all around to join us October 10th through the 18th at the Yazoo County Fairgrounds for fun, safe, affordable family entertainment. Check us out on Facebook or visit yazoo.org. Parking is free. Midway provided by Miller Spectacular Shows.
The mowing season is full on here in Mississippi. I'm David Frederick, owner of Frederick Sales and Service in Brandon. The industry-changing Exmark Laser Z commercial mower turns 30 years old this year and has been redesigned with even more great features you just have to see. We have a sale going on with instant rebates and 0% financing is available too. Stop by our store and let our award-winning staff show you the Exmark difference. Fredericks and Exmark, over 3 decades serving you in Brandon since 1993.
My name is Terry Parkinson. I'm with the Madison County Co-op in Canton. We're about a block southeast of the square. It's the deer time of year. We've got food plot seed from BWI, J&J Bagging, Buckbusters out of Louisiana, and Kelly Seed out of Alabama. We've got all the attractants, ryegrass. We got clovers. We sell a lot of sportsman condos, the game cams, just about anything you're going to want. Madison County Co-op in Canton is low or lower than most of our competitors.
Here's a word from John White, the owner of Two Gun Tactical in Flowood and Ridgeland. I carry a gun every day, all the time. Last year in America, 2 million legal guns were pulled and it stopped the threat. So I'm really wearing a firearm just to stop the threat. There's more likelihood of me just pulling it and not using it than there is using it. 2guntactical.com, 2guntactical.com.
Two Gun Tactical, the South's only country club.
Looking for adventure, amazing food, and a little relaxation all in one place? You'll find it at Cypress Point Resort in Brandon. Load up the family and experience a real drive-through safari, petting zoo, and thrilling guided Jeep tours. Then slow it down with mouth-watering steaks at the steakhouse, or grab drinks and live music at the tavern. Planning a wedding or reunion? Cypress Point Resort has beautiful venues and cozy lodging. Ready for your big day or just a weekend escape? It's everything you love about the outdoors with a touch of luxury. Cypress Point Resort. Wild fun, right around the corner.
Craving something extraordinary in Jackson? Manship Restaurant is where your taste buds hit the jackpot. Join us for happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. where your wallet will thank you and your stomach will sing. Indulge in half-price wood-fired pizzas because why pay full price for half the fun? And for just $5, dive into our private barrel bourbon picks. That's right, luxury on a budget. Plus, beat the heat with our frozen drink specials, a tropical escape without the travel expenses. Make your way to the Manship where happy hour isn't just a time, it's an experience.
Oh, yeah. We are back on the Andrew Gosser Show. We did 2 hours of radio. Oh, yeah. Pretty much without We talking are about back what happened in on the Israel Andrew and Gosser Gaza. Show. Pretty much without We talking did what happened 2 in hours Egypt. of radio. What's happening in Pretty much Afghanistan. without There is talking so about much what happened in news Israel going and on Gaza. Pretty much without talking what's happening in that Egypt. What's it happening in should. Afghanistan. There is so much news And going that's on. why I'm so grateful for this platform to be able to isn't share it getting with all of mainstream you. play, but it to should. talk about news stories that perhaps and that's why I'm so you would grateful not for hear this platform otherwise to be able to share it with all of you. because some to talk about news stories that organization perhaps decides that that's not what's interesting.
You would not hear otherwise because some
It's
news
unbelievable
organization decides that that's not what's
how
interesting.
with all the resources that we have in humanity, right? You can
it's
literally go to your any
unbelievable
browser and type in something and start
how
getting smart.
With all the resources that we have in
It's
humanity,
amazing
right?
how
you can literally go to your any
we
browser
won't
and
do
type in
that,
something
but
and start getting
we
smart.
should be excited, everybody.
It's
Because
amazing
Instagram says it's safeguarding
we
teens by
won't do
limiting
that,
them to
but
PG-13
we
content.
should be excited, everybody, because Instagram says it's safeguarding
And
teens
only
by
parents will
limiting
be
them to
able to change that.
PG-13 content.
This is coming from the AP. Teenagers on Instagram
And only parents will
be
be able to
restricted to
change
seeing
that.
PG-13 content by default
This is
and won't
coming
be
from
able to
the
change their
AP.
settings without a
Teenagers
parent's
on
permission.
Instagram
Meta announced on Tuesday.
will be restricted to
That's
seeing
today.
PG-13 content by default.
This means kids
and
using
won't be able to change their
teen-specific
settings
accounts will
without a
see
parent's
photos
permission.
and videos on
Meta
Instagram
announced
that are
on
similar to what they
Tuesday.
would see in a
That's today.
PG-13 movie. No sex, drugs,
This means
dangerous
kids using
stunts, among other
teen-specific
things.
accounts will see photos and videos on Instagram that are similar to what they would see in a PG-13 movie.
Well,
No
that's
sex, drugs, dangerous
in a way
stunts,
that's
among other
good, but
things.
it's still parents not being parents and watching what their kids are consuming.
Well, that's in a way that's good, but it's still
Our
parents
kids
not
will much
being
more
parents
rather
and watching
be
what their kids are
right here on
are
Instagram
consuming.
than learning how to farm or learning how to drive a truck or
Our
learning
kids
how to
will much
weld.
more rather be right here on Instagram than learning how to farm or learning
Yesterday
how to
was a
drive
good day.
a truck
There
or learning
were
how to
a bunch
weld.
of kids while I was waiting at the doctor's office, and they're all sitting
Yesterday
there
was a good day.
talking
There were
amongst
a
themselves.
bunch of
They're
kids
getting physicals for
while
whatever.
I was waiting at the
And
doctor's office, and
they were talking about how they were all
they're
going to go
sitting
into the
there
trades. I'm
talking
like, you know what?
amongst
There's hope
themselves.
for the
They're getting
future.
physicals for whatever. And
Charlie did a lot of good
they
good
were
with
talking
that.
about how they were all going to go into the trades. I'm like,
It's
you know
going to
what? There's
absolutely
hope for
stink
the future.
moving forward without him, but at the same
Charlie
time,
did a lot of good with that.
you know, we've got to press on. We've got to continue to fight for liberty and freedom and for our country, and that means going back and actually learning our history, because right now we're doing an absolutely horrible job of teaching our past history. Gen Xers, Boomers, Greatest Generation, fought World War II. We all know American exceptionalism. We all understand how great this country is and how much more great it can become and be. But our own worst enemies are ourselves and how we're producing things that aren't necessarily going to benefit the country. It's just an entertainment piece. You're listening to the Andrew Gossip Show. We'll be back in about 22 hours. Take care, everybody. Be blessed.